You're listening to The Real Estate Ride. Make sure to subscribe and enjoy the show.
And then also, it is very helpful to get better and more accurate estimates if you have a plan for exactly what you want to do with your house. So when you go in a house and look at it, right then you're deciding, like, what does this house need to make it sellable? Never think that you can do everything that you want, because if you're looking to make profit, that doesn't exist. Okay. Typically you're giving something up,
Right.
so that you can make your budget and still make it a profitable deal.
Hey, it is the Real Estate Ride,
Podcast.
and we are here to complain today. The good, the bad, and the ugly as far as real estate business owning and real estate in general is concerned. So this could get interesting, or it could take a different turn. Who knows?
No, I think one important aspect is to talk about, like, when you're doing real estate, you're dealing with contractors
And clients
and clients.
and just other people in general.
But this is more specifically for, going through a transaction where you're going to do repairs to a house.
Okay, so as some of you may know who have listened to us in the past, Jay and I have been in the real estate business for 20 plus years, and we started our own construction company 10 plus years ago because we have had issues with finding decent or good contractors that are reasonably priced, available at a decent amount of time frame, meaning
Yes.
you're not waiting 3 or 4 months to get some work done,
Yes.
or to even get a quote in some instances. And we just decided in 2014 that we were going to start our own construction company, because then we had some control over who was going to our properties, who was going to do requests to remedies for properties that Jay had listed, just a multitude of things.
Or our flips.
Yeah, our flips,
Right.
our own personal rental properties, our own personal house, whatever the case may be. So Jay had gone to the city, the big city that is close to us,
Columbus, Ohio.
and applied, went through their paperwork, got a license with the state, well, the city of Columbus, which basically licenses you for the state of Ohio. So he's licensed, bonded, and insured as a general contractor and as a commercial general contractor. So he can do both residential and commercial work. We can pull permits, we can do everything. So
yes, that is extremely helpful for us. But some of the challenges, like finding contractors, right? You want to interview them. You want to make sure that they have legal transportation, they have tools.
which sounds really basic, but it's so true.
Nothing personal, but there's a lot of people in the contracting business that either didn't do well in school or quit school, or, there's a various degree of elements involved.
Typically, they're very good working with their hands, which is why they don't go to college. They don't go to,
yes,
to your typical trade schools.
And they don't always do very well with organizational skills, technology skills, those things. So that is part of our in-house training. When we're working with our contracting team, we're teaching them how to do videos and pictures and do updates. Like, you want to know what's going on with your house, right?
Yes.
So you can't be there every day typically. And so you want to know what's going on each day. I think if you hired someone or you hired us, you would want an update with what we're doing, what's happening, any issues we ran into, change orders. That's when you're doing a project and you found something new underneath siding or underneath shingles or in the wall,
drywall or whatever.
Right. You take the wall out. Annie and I did one where we were going to replace the back door. And when we took the trim off, we discovered that the framing for the door was eaten by termites. So now we're taking more drywall off, right? And now we've figured out that there's an entire wall that needs rebuilt.
Right.
So that wasn't in the scope of work, and
Change order.
that's called a change order. So uh, you should be informed of that prior to that
Work being
that
completed.
work being completed, and you should get pricing on it, and you should get approval on it, and all of that should be done right then before any additional work is done in that job or that area of that particular job.
So 10 years ago, when we started this construction business, it was really just Jay and myself and one assistant that we had working for us on a part-time basis. And then it quickly grew to 2 assistants and 4 or 5 contractors, in addition to all of our real estate deals that we've been doing otherwise. So the construction company is a completely different company from the rest of our companies. It's a separate LLC. It has its own team. It has its own employees. It's kind of gotten from 4 or 5 contractors that were 1099s to now we have 25 contractors. Some of them are employees. Some of them are 1099 contractors still.
Yes.
We have 2 admin people and 3 project managers. So it's grown significantly in the 10 years that we've had it. And
Yes.
that comes with a multitude of good things and bad things, right?
And people tell you to get multiple estimates because you really need to contact multiple people just to even get one estimate. It's crazy, but we did a flip with our daughter almost 8 years ago when she wanted her car, and we're like, we're not buying you a car, but we'll teach you how to flip a house, and you can use whatever profit you make to buy your car. And so
we walked her through the whole process, held her hand through the whole thing, as we do with most of our coaching students that haven't had any, definitely with the ones that have 0 experience in real estate. And again, she was turning 16. So
I think
newbie
she
real
called
estate investor.
10 people
I think 10 or 12
for her
we-
project.
10 or 12 different.
We wouldn't let her use our guys
At first, we
at
would not
first.
let her.
And
We wanted her to get the real experience of being a real estate investor, right? And flipping houses. So we had her reach out to 10 different contractors or attempt to get bids on redoing the house.
yes. And I think that she got 6 people to come and look at it.
Mhm.
And then I think she ended up getting like 2 or 3 bids.
2 bids, not counting ours. Ours was the third.
Yeah. So, yeah, so she was very distraught just from the beginning. So
And
we're
I'm laughing now, but in all honesty, this is not abnormal. This is not abnormal, especially in the realm of real estate and contractors. There are a lot of people that we work with now, even that say they've reached out to 6, 7, 10, 12 different contractors and no one gets a bid back to them, or they
Yes.
don't get a bid back within a 2-week time frame even. So there are a lot of customers and consumers out there that are looking for contractors that know what they're doing, that can get them an estimate within a week or 2 and then get on the job site within a month or 2. And that's a very hard thing to come by these days.
Yes. So if you're new or even seasoned, I recommend that you try to get at least 3 bids. 5 is better. 5 would be ideal. And if you are limited on time, you have a full-time job, then you coordinate them in 1 day, 1 hour increments. You have one come at 10, one at 11, 12, 1, 2. Ask, when should I expect my estimate back? And you may get 2 or 3 back. I hope you get 5, but
That's not been our
yeah,
experience.
you might,
but
you might get 2 or 3.
and they can range widely from, from the bottom of the barrel to the top of the
yes, well, even
street,
just
honestly.
for our replacement roof in Florida when there was the storm, we had roof ranges from $15,000 up to $28,000. So almost double in price for the same
roof,
same roof,
property, same area.
same product, dimensional shingle, same square footage. So that's how much of a variance you can get in pricing. And so I think it's equally important to look at pricing and then also how do they operate. Um, Ironically enough, the guy that we picked said, I'll put your roof on. You don't pay me until it's done. Like, that's not normal. Okay.
Not normal at all. Typically, and this is what we do as contractor company, we require 50% upfront the day that you book. That gets you on our books and gets your supplies ordered, and then 50% on completion so that we can pay our guys.
Yes.
That's typical. Sometimes they do it in thirds. Sometimes they
Yes.
do it a third down and then 2/3 due at the end of the year or at the end of the project, not at the end of the year. Although some people try to push it to pay
Yes.
till the end of the year. But just overall, make sure that you're comfortable with who's coming in your house, how they do business. Ask for referrals. Pictures lie. Pictures can lie a lot.
Yeah. Referrals, as in what's the person's name, what's their phone number, the property address where you worked,
And what you
describe
did for
in
them.
detail what you did and the cost of that job.
Now, as an owner of a construction company, when we are hiring contractors, we actually are setting up now a little makeshift
Working interview.
working interview to where they have things that they have to do. We own several properties here locally, so we've taken one of the garages that we store some of our supplies in and are turning it into a basically working interview space.
And
So-
training space.
Yeah, so they can learn if they don't already know how to do electric, to do plumbing, to do framing, to do drywall. And then we also test them, so to speak, on an interview on how do you paint? How do you finish drywall? How do you put this tub drain together? How do you put this sink drain together? How do you install a washer box? Whatever the case may be.
Yes.
So that we can see the steps they take to do it. And then also, if they do not know how to do it, the steps that they can be shown and therefore taught how to do additional things. Because as business owners, we prefer our contractors to be well-rounded. Like, we have hired certain people on in certain areas, but then we also train them in the different areas that they don't already know, so that at any given time, any person that works for our construction company, which is Extreme Equity Construction, doing business as the property pros these days, they can go to a job site no matter what is being done and finish it start to finish. And then that way, if someone gets sick and cannot be there, or if something happens with their family and they need to take the day off, the project doesn't stall because there's only one guy that knows what they're doing.
Yes. And you need to talk to your municipality, city. That's a lot easier to say today. You can talk to your city about what things you can do in your city without a license. So most of the counties that we work in Central Ohio do not require a license to do electrical or plumbing.
For residential stuff.
In the city of Columbus, they most definitely do. And so, if we work in Columbus City, we're using licensed electricians and plumbers and HVAC techs. If we're working in the outskirted areas, we have staff members that are trained in those fields and can execute that work locally. And so that's important also to know, what the regulations are.
Yeah, because you want to make sure that you're in compliance and not doing things that you aren't supposed to be doing, or doing things the right way. So if you need to pull a permit as a general contractor, you can do that. If you need to pull a permit as a homeowner instead, then you can discuss the homeowner situation with the homeowner. It's him or herself, and they could potentially pull that permit for you. It just depends. Again, like Jay said, Columbus is different than the city that we currently do business in, the majority of, which is Newark. And Coshocton, which is east of us, is different than Newark and different than Columbus. There are different outskirts of Columbus that require permitting for some stuff, licensing for some stuff. It just depends. So the best way is to call the city, township, village, whatever you live in, and get the specifics, or wherever you're going to be doing the work.
Yes.
I did mention Coshocton, but they use a different county for permits. It's just totally crazy depending on where you're at.
Yeah. And then also, it is very helpful to get better and more accurate estimates if you have a plan for exactly what you want to do with your house. So when you go in a house and look at it, right then you're deciding like, what does this house need to make it sellable? Never think that you can do everything that you want, because if you're looking to make profit, that doesn't exist. Okay. Typically you're giving something up,
Right.
so that you can make your budget and still make it a profitable deal. So we'll go in and say, okay, this has to be done. And then what is it that we want to do? Or especially where can we add value? Like, where can we add a half bath, a full bath? Is there living room, family room, dining room, and kitchen on the first floor? So can we take one of those rooms, close it in, build a closet? Now we have a first floor bedroom. And then in addition to that, is there then space attached to, or somewhere near that first floor bedroom, that you can add a full bath as well? Because that's sometimes also available.
And then, there's different details that you need to go into. If you're adding a bath, you need to, and it's on a septic, you need to make sure that the septic tank holds an additional bath, or an additional bath, I should say. My tongue got tied a little bit, but just make sure that whatever or whomever you're dealing with, whatever you're planning on doing, that person knows exactly, because there are a lot of steps that go into it. For instance, a homeowner or you as a flipper could say, I want to add a barn door, but the barn door can't be held up with the existing header. So,
Yes.
or there is no header where you want to put a barn door. So then you have to tear into the wall. You have to add a header, and that's obviously more money than just buying a barn door and a kit and putting it up. So
right,
there are things that only contractors may know, unless you educate yourself on how to do certain things that you want done as a homeowner. So it just kind of depends on what level of involvement you want to be in as the homeowner as a homeowner is concerned, versus if you just want hands off and let somebody else do it.
yes. And if you have plans, whether hand drawn or on the computer, and it says, this is what's going in, this is what I want, there's no question about the job that needs to be done.
Right.
Like, it's all laid out on paper. And that's important for contractors to be able to follow a plan, because if you don't give them a plan, they make up their own plan.
And it could be right and it could be wrong. It just depends on the knowledge of the contractor and the skill set that they have.
Yes, it could be as simple as, hey, we're adding a bathroom and I want the toilet to face the inside of the room instead of the back part of the room. And that one little change can change your plumbing.
Right.
And now you're redoing the rough end plumbing and you're paying $500 to $1,000 more because it wasn't clear
which way you wanted your
toilet to face.
Or you want your toilet in a cubby, but the cubby isn't big enough to have the toilet and have the code for the toilet to be accurate. So then you're knocking out walls, or you're not passing your inspection because the code is not accurate, or lots of different things depending on what you're doing. So make sure that your plan is indeed laid out. It does not have to be architectural drawings and all of these big floor plans, which that is helpful, but it doesn't have to be that way. Just make sure that you have an ideal plan in writing that you can share with your contractor or your contractors, depending on how you do it. Construction is a funny game sometimes.
Yeah, and ask them their plan. Like, here's my blueprint or my drawing. What's your plan? What are you going to do first, second, third, fourth? And they should be able to tell you these are the steps that we're going to do.
For sure.
I was just talking to a client today, and they weren't sure what kind of heating system they're going to put in, but they're going to redo all of the electric. So I'm like, well, you can't do your electric plan until you know,
what heating
are you
system?
putting in an electric furnace or a gas furnace? And so if it's electric furnace, do you have enough room in your electrical panel that's existing, or are you upgrading? And then if you are upgrading, is your line coming into the house large enough to support an upgraded panel? Because they take different size wires when they come into your panel, depending on if you're doing 100, 150, 200, or even 400 amp service for the monster houses.
Mm-hmm.
But then you also need a new meter because the
Right.
meter isn't big enough to handle the larger amperage. And so all of that, like that one question alone can cost you an extra $1,000 or $2,000.
And same with the, if it's on a septic system and you're adding a bathroom, that could cost you an additional 15 to 20 grand just in a septic system.
Yes.
So again, the good, the bad, and the ugly as far as real estate is concerned. And today was contractors.
Yes. Lots of answering questions and solving problems. So we just kind of went on the fly today. This is what we teach our coaching students, to make sure that you're double and triple checking everything and you are prepared and ready to attack your plan.
The best thing that I can suggest for any new real estate investor or even seasoned real estate investor is, yes, to have your plan in place prior to meeting with anybody, because there are a lot of different options out there. There are a lot of different finishes that you can do. So if you have a plan, at least initially in your head, as to what you want your house or project to look like and what you want it to have definitively, then the rest of it can be decided really as you go. But you definitely want to make sure that you have a plan in place and to do your due diligence, meaning whether you're buying a house, whether you're renovating a house, whether you're using contractors that you've never met before, do your due diligence. Make sure that you check the references, make sure that you are getting those pieces of the plan put together into a overall plan that is not going to cost you $50,000 over your budget because they
Right.
did all of this stuff that didn't need to be done, that you didn't want to have done because they didn't know your plan initially. Because if you give them free reign, they will definitely jack your bill.
Yes. I wanted to mention we're here for you. So if you have topics that you want us to discuss, please reach out.
We're on social media, and then we can also be found at jay@jayandannieadkins.com or annie@jayandannieadkins.com. And this has been the Real Estate Ride.
We'll see you on the next trip.
Hey everybody, it's Jay.
This is Annie.
We are so grateful for you joining us on our podcast and listening in and participating. We want to offer you this additional free bonus, and that is joining our Facebook group.
Yes, where we will have other individuals, not just us, but having conversations on all things real estate, and we would love to have you join us. So just click the link below and head on over and join our group.
Thanks guys, we'll see you on the other side.